All right, welcome everybody to this week's client support webinar. My name is Bennett McDowell with traderscoach.com. Great to be here on this August 14th, 2024. Okay, a couple of quick things. Let me know you can hear me, okay? And let me know you can see the screen. Hopefully all that stuff is working okay. I think you probably should. Okay, good. Getting good, good. Okay, good. All right, excellent. All right, so we got a good turnout today. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in now, so I have a chance to get to them by the end of the session. The sessions last about 30 minutes after I go through the admin stuff, of course. All right, let me jump on that real quick. First thing is our general disclaimer, same one as every week. Basically, there's no guarantees in trading. You need to protect yourself against the risks involved in trading. Always calculate your trade size. You know, that's why we have the risk to reward calculator, and also we have the trade size calculator. And if you're thinking about getting one or the other, get the risk to reward calculator, okay, because it does more than the trade size calculator does. And also to check with your financial advisor. If we happen to look up a stock and you're thinking about buying it and I give you my opinion on it, remember it's my opinion based on my experience and my mindset. And so my tolerance to risk may be different than yours. I don't know your personal situation, so always check with somebody that certainly does. All right, for those day traders out there, I always talk a little bit about the Apex prop trading opportunity because I think it's a good one out there. If you're interested in this, I'll put a link up there. And basically, if you're day trading futures or have an interest in that, great place to get started because they fund you and they give you free data. And you have a subscription, and I put a code up there, a link and a code, and I think that's good for just a little while longer, so you might want to take advantage of that, and you can check out all the details. All right, I do use them, and I like them a lot. All right, books. I have books on money management. My new book, The Art of Trading. I hear it's coming out pretty soon. All the work is done, so they're just doing the final proofreadings and all that kind of stuff that they do at the publisher. I'm not really sure what they do, but I think they do that. At least I hope they do that. So that's being published by Wiley. My book from McGraw-Hill, Elliott Wave Technique Simplified, has been out for quite some time. Very well received out there. And then, of course, I got money management books and software to boot. Many of you have all our software. That's why you're here. If you have any questions on the software or any of the course material or anything to do with trading, feel free to ask at any time, okay? That's the whole purpose of this webinar. All right, so let me come out of here and we'll go to some charts. I did have some questions coming in through the email that I'll get to, but if you have any, feel free to use the chat area and type those questions in for me, and I will get to those before the end of the session today. All right, quick couple things. I've been asked a lot about my layout, you know, how do I do it, what do I do? And basically, if you're new, and it depends on what platform, but most of the questions came in regarding NinjaTrader. Now, NinjaTrader allows you to set up workspaces and allows you to basically customize those workspaces how you want. What I usually do is I have intraday data. So let me just go for a minute first to the control panel. So this is the control panel. You can move it all around. You can move it to another screen. But the idea is I usually have it up here, and this is my personal preference. Everybody's a little different. Some people put it on the sides, and it depends how many monitors you have. You can put it on another monitor. But the idea is that through the control panel, you set up your simulation accounts. If you're prop trading, all your prop trading accounts will be in here, as well as any professional brokerage accounts you have there as well. All right, so one of the things you want to think about here is that when you go to the connections area, all right, you want to get set up for whatever connections that you need. Now, if you're looking to get intraday time frames, that's anything below basically a daily chart, like a 60-minute chart, range charts, tick charts, whatever, you're going to need to import intraday data somehow. I buy mine through Kinetic, and that gives me all my intraday stock data, futures data if I need it, and things like that. I also have Apex. You can see a couple of Apex accounts up there, and I get my futures data through there intraday as well. All right, and then NinjaTrader comes with Kinetic end of day, which is really excellent data The only difference is it's not intraday data. So keep that in mind. So if you're having a hankering or you want to look at intraday charts, you're going to have to cough up the dollars for some intraday data. Now, if you have a broker that's compatible with Ninja, then you're going to have to import that broker's data, which is not a big deal because they actually, if I go here, you can see on the upper left-hand side here, all the possibilities. So you want to make sure your broker obviously is compatible with Ninja. So it's one of those up there, but, and you can get forex data in there as well. E-signal data can come in there. Interactive brokers, which is a brokerage account data, and you can get Rhythmic for the NInjaTrader, TD Ameritrade, which is now really Schwab, and they're kind of still working on making that working well, I guess is the right way to say it, throughout the folks that have been through the merger with them. So anytime you have a merger, you know, things always get a little screwed up. So, you know, hopefully they'll get that squared away. My understanding is they're squaring it away. So I'm hopefully that's happening to you. But those are the different brokerage accounts that you have to get up and running before you have access to data. Now, if you're going to set your charts up like mine with 60-minute daily and weekly, you're going to have intraday data or you're not going to see a 60-minute chart. And I really recommend for those that are just starting out, start with the end of the day data. Practice on that. I mean, if you want to day trade, I'd go with the prop firming and you get free data that way. But I would stick with the end of day data. There's nothing wrong with it. And you can set up, you don't need the 60-minute chart. You could remove this, slide the window for a daily chart here if you want, and then just have two charts. And both of these could be run, of course, by the end of day data because one's daily and then one's weekly. So I get data for that. It's not real time, but it's sufficient for swing trade, okay? So that's a possibility. All right, now on the scanner, when we talk about the scanner, you know, we have the trade confirmer, the Elliott wave scanner, the turbo scanner, and the multiple time frame scanner. So on the multiple time frame scanner, you can scan for as many time frames as you want. Now I'm going to highlight where that's located here. And this is, you don't have to have it set up the way I have it. I have it on the far right-hand side. Some people put it in the middle. Some people put it before. Most people put it before the turbo scanner. So it just depends on where you want it. But I happen to have it set up way over here. So this is the multiple time frame scanner, also known as the MTF. And obviously I have three columns. So I've got something called the short, all right, which was my 60-minute chart. The intermediate, which is my primary chart, or what I call the intermediate when I have three up there. And then the long-term chart on the far right, which is my weekly chart. So it's scanning for all three time frames. Now, if I don't have intraday data, you don't need a short time, okay? Cross that out. The only thing you need is a primary and a long-term, okay? You just need two. So this would basically scan for this, and this would be scanning for the indicators down here for trending and so forth as well. So that's what the multiple time frame scanner does. But again, how you have it set up may be a little different than how I have it set it up. Now, the next column I have here is the turbo scanner, which is right here. Now, on the turbo scanner, a couple things, all right? You know, I mentioned the word columns. And one of the things about the market analyzer, which is what we're looking at now, which is the scanner inside Ninja, it gets a little funky because when you start, and it's not the data that's funky, it's the columns. So if I slide a column over, sometimes it will distort other columns. Has anybody else had that problem? And you know, it can be a little tricky to get the columns set up the way you want. So for example, like you know, I don't need a big column for Elliott wave 3. I only need a little one, right? But watch what happens when I try to slide this over. So if I slide it over there, notice how all the columns move a little bit. All right, now I have a lot of space over by the instrument. All right, now if anybody knows how to, so you got to keep playing around with it. Eventually you can get it right, but you have to slide things over. I don't need these big columns either. All right, so I'll slide those over. Let's see what else. Whenever you affect one, it affects the other. And the turbo scanner, I can do that. I don't need these big in here. All right, turbo scanner, actually I do need big because that has most of the stuff on it. But you can see how when I mess with these columns, you know, some of the other ones change. All right, and it's one of those things that if anybody has a clue for it not to do that, let me know. But for God's sakes, you know, I've been using Ninja for a long time, and I struggle with it all the time. But the thing is some of the columns you need to look at, like the turbo scanner, you need to have it quite large, because it's scanning for a lot of different things, whereas some of these other columns are just giving you, you know, maybe 3 words at the most or whatever. So got to play around with that. And if you're new, what you do is just put your cursor up here on the arrows here and slide them around just like you would in the other windows. You left click, hold, and slide, and that's how you would do it, okay? So just practice that, get that the way you kind of want it, and you know, that kind of thing. The other thing with the scanners here that's kind of important is, you see this little green box here? If you want this scanner to link to your charts, the charts and the scanner have to have the same green. So let me just show you. See the green here? And it can be any color. Color doesn't matter as long as the color is the same for the scanner as it is for the individual charts, okay? So keep that in mind. Why would I want that? Well, if I go up here, let's say I want to take a look at silver, okay, SLV. I just click on the scanner and it takes me to silver, okay? You can set it up also for different time frames, and different colors can be different time frames. For example, here's my futures trading stuff, and notice the color for this is a different color than the charts. This is blue and this is green. Well, that's because my blues are all over on my other time frames that deal with day trading. So when I click on a blue scanner or tab, that will only change the charts with the blue. So my green ones won't get screwed up. So that's kind of how you can separate the different tabs on the scanner, because each scanner tab can have a different color if you want, okay, depending on the time frames you have or the charts you have those tied to. So a lot of configurations, play around with it on your own, kind of mess with it a little bit and see how it all works. And sometimes the best way to figure something out is to mess with it, right? So keep that certainly in mind, all right? Okay, so now, all right, so let's see what you got, Cliff here. Cliff, it says on my charts, I only see the 1 and 2B art signals. I was expecting to see MPs and Ps for minor and pyramids. There might not be any minors on that. What chart are you looking at? Let me bring it up. Give me the chart symbol. If you give me the chart symbol, I'll let you know. And then I'll check that for you, okay? Now, the other thing too is if you, sure, of course, if you want to, you know, basically when Mark sets everybody up, he usually creates a template and puts it on as the default. So that's usually what he does with that. And if you load up a chart or something and you accidentally delete some of the indicators that you want on the chart, just go back to the template, load it, and pick the template you want. Depending, you know, it usually says ART, AL, PTF, TLM, or ERI. Okay, so and that will bring all those up. And make sure also, Cliff, that you're connected to data and give your platform enough time to load. The other thing a lot of people do is they'll have 100 symbols, you know, being loaded in their market analyzer. And sometimes, depending on your internet connection, especially if you're wireless, it takes a while to get all those loaded up. And while it's doing that, you may not see all the symbols on the chart. In other words, it's almost like it freezes until it populates. Okay, so I don't know, Cliff, if you just started your platform, but if you did, that probably is it. It just hasn't fully loaded yet. You have to be a little patient and don't click too many buttons or else things get screwed up, okay? So give it a chance to load and wait until it's fluid, and then you're kind of good to go. Once it's loaded, you're good, but the loading can take a little time in the beginning, okay? So I think that's kind of important to note. All right, so I wanted to cover that because I was getting a lot on that. I also got some information on some questions on the Elliott wave, for example. All right, so the Elliott wave probably would be a good thing, I think, probably to cover here. And the Elliott wave scanner, real quickly, scans for wave 3 and wave 5. One of the most frequent questions I get on the Elliott wave scanner is why doesn't it scan for 1, 2, or 4? And the reason for that, especially in wave 1, you get so many false breakouts that it's better to let the 1 form, confirm the 2, and then start having it read the 3. Same thing with wave 4. Wave 4 comes after the wave 3, and so you have to, I mean, we could have put a wave 4 in there, but I'd rather you basically look at the fib retracements to make sure the retracement off wave 4 is good, because normally I don't want people to trade wave 4. So really we want you to trade wave 5. So wave 3 and wave 5 are the best impulsive waves. So we tried to keep it as those two main things to show you on the scanner. So that's why they scan for wave 3 and wave 5. Now, when we look at wave 3 and wave 5, a couple things to note. Let's say we had a starting point here. We had a bullish wave 1, and then a retracement, wave 2, and then a wave 3 developed, okay? So let's say you were scanning for the market, and you looked at this, and wave 3 was already in place and much higher than wave 1. And inside, you can start to see the small little waves here. Well, obviously, that's too late to enter, okay? So you kind of want to find that wave 3 when you actually want to take advantage of it right when it starts to clear wave 1, okay? And actually, anywhere up here, all right, as long as you can take a look at the waves inside, you may have to go to a lower time frame, but you may be able to time that even better going inside. But the idea, what I'm trying to share with you is the scanner is going to call for a wave 3 on the time frame you're looking at. And the idea is make sure you're not getting in too late on wave 3. So you know, not all wave 3s may be created equal, depending on when you get around to look at the scanner and when it's showing it. But one thing is nice, I gotta say about that is if you know that you're in a wave 3, well, then you know after wave 3, you do have wave 4, all right? And then after that, you are gonna have the wave 5. So the scanner is going to identify this wave 5 here, okay? And this wave 3 here. Your job, all right, is to make sure you're not getting in late on those waves to make it worthwhile. So that's one of the key things you got to do. So look at your scans often. You know, if you got the scans set up scanning every day, I'd look at them at night and look to see if there's any new wave 3s, okay? That way you can kind of really quickly see if it's new, it should be really just starting, right? So you can get in early. But if it's a wave 3 that's you've already missed, well, then wait for it to turn into a wave 5 again, and then look for it, okay? So that's you know, how those scanners work. And, you know, a lot of people use them a little bit differently. Some people do trade wave 4, all right? So after wave 3, they know wave 4 is coming, so they get ready for a trade on wave 4, which is, you know, counter trend of wave 3. So it depends on how you like to trade, what your style of trading is. Software tools are just that. They're tools, but the interpretation is really, and the use of them is left up to you, all right? And then you have to kind of figure out what works best with your style of trading. So definitely keep that in mind. And use the simulators while you're working on all this stuff. Simulators are great, okay? Because basically with a simulator, you're actually trading the market as it unfolds. So you're not really doing back testing. So you're really focused on not knowing the right-hand side of the chart, and therefore your decisions are going to be more realistic on how you make the trade. And so therefore simulated trading can produce some really good, honest results on how you're doing, and I highly recommend it. And the bottom line is, you know, if you're not profitable, don't worry about it in terms of being all stressed out about it. Learn from it, all right? Tweak things, make your changes in order for you to determine what works best for you. You know, day traders, especially day traders, it can take them up to a year or two to figure out a system that works on different conditions. And it takes some time. So enjoy the process. That's my point. Enjoy the process. Don't worry about the money so much because if you have something that's successful with a simulator, then it's time to go over into real markets and see how you do. And I can guarantee if you don't do as good, it's for one or two reasons. Either you've encountered a market pattern that you have not faced before, or you're taking things so seriously that the fear and greed is mounted to a point where you're not trading as fluid as you were during the simulator. Okay, so you gotta, you know, you do have to work on that a little bit. So it's all a matter of experience. It's all a matter of rolling up your sleeves and really enjoying the process. Because once you got it, then you're gonna have fun with it. If you got something with a positive expectancy that you could trade in a calm way, it's really much better to do it that way than to be all hyped up and nervous because you don't have confidence that you should be pulling the trigger or not. So I think probably, you know, we've all experienced that from time to time, especially when we're new or starting out on it. All right, so Clifton is looking up, well, I hope I have that, the forex market. Let me just see. AUD, I probably do because I have the end-of-day trade stuff. I gotta be honest, I don't trade forex. All right, but oh shoot, I typed it in wrong. All right, AUD, USD. So this is the Australian. All right. Okay, so let's just see. Okay, I got some data here. Well, there's plenty of pyramids here on the daily chart and the weekly chart. So here's what I want you to do, Cliff. Right click on your chart, go to indicators, and tell me what you have loaded down here. You should have pyramids and you should have reversals. You purchased all that, right? I think you purchased all that, so you should have that. All right, well, he's looking that up. Any other questions from anybody else? I don't like to make these too long, but I kind of like a little bit of educational content here for those that are here to kind of, you know, pick up a pointer or two. The other thing too that I do get asked an awful lot is you know, when you're on your laptop and you're on battery, always plug that in because, you know, you may lose sight of the fact your battery's dying on you. And that would really stink if you had a live trade on, especially short-term trade and your computer died. So always check that. And if you can, try to connect via a hardwire connection or a really good wireless. You know, we used to say don't connect the wireless at all, but the wireless has gotten pretty good. But, you know, if you're in a hotel or something like that, you know, that's just not really dependable, right? So you kind of got to be careful with that, okay? So I would not recommend trading, day trading for sure in an environment like that, okay? So Cliff, you should see this down here because you have the art software and you have the scanners. You do not have the, let's see what else you got. Yeah, that's what you got, unless you have it under a different email or something I just looked up. So I don't think you might have all the indicators at the bottom. All right, so you just take a look at that and let me know, okay? All right, any other questions? Any other questions coming in? Software working okay? Yes. Yeah, I know Ninja came out with the latest update. I think it's what, 3.1, and that one is fine. Okay. Most of the updates in the platforms do not require us to update our software unless it's something really major. Like if it's going from an 8 to a 9, then maybe. All right. Like when it went from 7 to 8, we had to. All right. So usually the little updates within the version is okay. The other thing too, we get asked a lot is when you download our software and you install it on your own, your security software, whether it's Windows or Norton or whatever, will always ask you if you want to proceed with the installation or, warning this, software. Do you know and trust the software? Our software is virus free, okay? But like any other third-party vendor, we're not on, the big list of big vendors like Microsoft and things like that. So a lot of these security software companies don't test for software, probably from like 80 to 90% of the third-party vendors. So it's very common for software that's even perfectly good to be questioned, and that's okay. All right, but again, if you're downloading it from us, you're fine, okay? You don't have to worry about a thing. So you just go on and say, yes, I approve it, or might say more information. You click on more information and just keep going with the installation. And then once it's installed, it's pretty good. The only one we have trouble on that you have to configure your security software is the Trader's Assistant. For some reason, that is more flagged more because it accesses some of these script files, like not the script files, but it creates database files in Microsoft file format. And that always disturbs Microsoft a little bit, I think, when you do that. So that thing has got to, anytime you mess around with one of the Windows files or create a new one, sometimes that can be a difficult thing for the security software not to flag. So, basically you just say it's good, and you won't have any problem with it, but you do have to tell the security software it's okay. All right. All right, well, you can take a look at my screen right now. Okay, Cliff says he sees the indicators. I think you just didn't give it enough time to load. So, Mark, I think was on your computer. I just saw the note from him, and he loaded your scanner with 100 symbols of the NASDAQ. So you got to give those NASDAQ symbols time to load. And if you're on wireless or a laptop or something, it could take a little longer. So just be patient, that's all. And once it's loaded, you should be okay. But the code is the code. Our code, we're not going to sell you any code that's not the same code I'm using. So, they should be exactly the same. And if they're not, then the culprit has to be the data. Okay, the data is different. That would only be the only difference. But I'm using end of day and you're using end of day, so it should be pretty much the same. There was a story, I remember we had a day trader, and this is going back 25 years ago. Wait, that's a long time. Okay, maybe even longer. But he was using e-signal, and we were using e-signal. we were doing a live presentation. His signals were slightly different on the M2K 1 minute time frame than ours was. And his data was slightly different because I had him send over the packet of data, and then I sent it to my software guy, my engineer, to make sure what the hell was going on. And it was determined that the data was slightly different. And he was on the East Coast and I was on the West Coast. And eSignal, apparently, I learned, has different servers for different parts of the country. So the data can be slightly off, okay? So, so weird things like that can happen. And we even occasionally noticed it a little bit sometimes, even when we day trade today. Sometimes I'll be using Apex data and some people using a little bit different data, and some of the signals may be just slightly a little different. So, you know, and there's nothing you can do about that, but the thing is, when that happens, I wouldn't sweat it too much, because yeah, you may get a break one day and the other guy may not, that's using the other data, and then, you know, he may get a break and you don't. Just be consistent, that's all. And that little bit of data, more than likely over time, is not going to make a difference, or that much difference at all in your results. I always say we can put a man on the moon, but you can't get the data right from shore to shore, right? Kind of a funny thing. All right, anything else? Cliff, you good? Okay. You just keep an eye on it. I'm sure you're fine, but you just got to make sure your you know, Ninja gets opened, okay? All right, so I've got, well, my list is going to be different than you because I don't know what software you got, but the list here is here. I've got all our software loaded here on the chart down here. The only thing you probably don't have is this little thing called Symbol. I think it's a third-party thing I had to download. There's two things, I'll share it next week. There's two things that I have that I really like that I don't think are included with Ninja. Do you see on my charts here, I have the drawing toolbar on the left-hand side? All right, that's a third part, it's free. I mean, you just go in and Google NinjaTrader drawing toolbar and see what you get. And you'll eventually come across this one I have. You download it and then import it as a script, Ninja script, restart Ninja, and then it will be on all your charts automatically. I love it, okay? And I really couldn't live without it because of the fact that it makes it so easy to draw fibs, fib extensions, you know, delete everything you have, lines, all the drawing tools are right there. Now, NinjaTrader has one. It's kind of ridiculous, I think. It's under the indicator area here. I didn't like it one bit. I mean, you can play around with it. Maybe you will like it, but it's called Drawing Tool Tile. It puts a tile on the window, but I find it more of a nuisance than it's any good. Here, I'll put it on this chart here. Let's see where it ends up here. Oh, I forgot to add it. Hold on a second. So let me just go back and put that on there. I'll load it down here. And I'll just add it. Okay, so it puts it up here, but I don't find it very, you know, you can move it around, but not all the symbols aren't on it. And I like it a lot better when it's just on every chart on the left. I don't know why they couldn't make one like that, but they didn't. Same thing with the symbol watermark. If you Google symbol watermark add-on for Ninja 8, it'll do that. And what that is exactly is basically it puts the symbol up here. You can make it more opaque, you can make it darker, you can change colors, you can change the size. But it's kind of handy to know when you're looking at a real chart, especially when you're day trading and you're going from, you know, the E-mini, the NASDAQ, to maybe gold, to maybe, you know, crude oil, whatever, you know, Henry Hubson's, NG, natural gas, whatever you're trading on the futures market, whatever market, it's just right in front of you. And so it makes it a lot easier. Okay. All right, so I'm not seeing any more questions coming in, so I think we're kind of good for today. Hopefully that helped some of you there. And hopefully you guys are getting a lot out of these sessions. I don't get that many questions. I wish I got more questions, but I don't get that many. So I guess no questions is a good sign. People kind of are doing okay. So I like that. And Cliff, I got this back up on my chart again. You can check it and see. All right. And I'm trying to think of anything else to tell you. I think that's pretty much it. So, you know, we record all these sessions and the recordings are posted. To get to the recordings, you got to go log into the VIP client support portal. And that takes you into our customer hub membership area. And from there, you can, right on the front page, as soon as you log in, look for client support webinars, and you'll see a link that'll take you to the archive. And that basically is taking you to our YouTube private page. And those YouTube unlisted videos are all in there on the client support that only you can see by logging in. So they're not public. So we pretty much keep everything private here. Okay. All right, good, Cliff. So you're all set. Okay, good to hear. Okay, glad. All right, and I'm glad you asked. Okay, good to be here and get that squared away, right? Sometimes a chart is worth 1,000 words, right? And that's kind of why we hold these things. It's hard to explain things sometimes on email. It's much easier just to show you. So Cliff, a couple things. Get used to the fact that, you know, you can move these things around. Cliff is new kind of with NinjaTrader. So make sure you understand how you can move those around, how you can, just like on any windows, you can shorten these up and move them all around that way. And same thing with the charts, okay? And NinjaTrader, by the way, has some great tutorials. So if you go, let me just grab this here. If you go here under help, they have video guides, they have help guides, resources. So this will help you learn how to get around NinjaTrader. So if you ever have a question on NinjaTrader or you deleted something or whatever, go there and see how to bring it back, okay? Or whatever you need help with. So that's a good place to start, and it's pretty comprehensive, I think, overall. And if you have any additional questions on our software, you can always give us a support ticket and we'll get back to you. All right, so I think we're good. So I'll see you guys next week. Have a wonderful week as we work our way through the mid part of August already. Kids are getting ready to go back to school, right? So here we go again. A quick summer as always. All right, thanks everybody. We really appreciate you coming today, and more people we have, the better. We had a good turnout today, so really good. So summer must be slightly winding down. We usually pick up when summer is over. Everybody's running around off on vacation and everything. Don't forget, we do also a market review, which is free on, you can tune in to YouTube or LinkedIn or our page on Facebook. And we do that once a month, the first Wednesday of each month. So the next one will be the first Wednesday in September. So that's kind of where that is. And if you want a more thorough and frequent report, then you may be interested in the market opportunity report, also known as MORE, that I do each and every Sunday. And it's a pretty extensive report. It takes me about 8 hours a weekend to put that thing together. So I put a lot of effort, and then I do a video, and the idea is to prepare you for the upcoming week and give you some information, and our stock picks and everything are in there. All right, so with that, I will leave you, and I will see you all next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.